There's three main reasons why people come to social media. They come to social media to be educated, to be entertained, and to be inspired. Do you want to learn how to create consistent content for your Instagram account so you can attract targeted followers to your business? If so, then be sure to watch this entire video because I'm going to share with you my exact tips and strategies and hacks for Instagram growth by creating content on a consistent basis. My name is Jelena Ostrovska from JelenaOstrovska.com. Welcome back to my channel if you're new. Be sure to consider subscribing if you enjoy content around social media. And this is the best place for coaches, consultants, and entrepreneurs who are trying to monetize their expertise online through social media strategies. So without any further ado, let's dive right into this. So the very first thing that you want to do when you create your account is you need to identify the types of content that you are going to be posting. So you want to create a couple different buckets. One bucket could be all about social media, another bucket could be all about coaching, another one could be all about video marketing. So you know your niche better than I do, but let's say if you are in a health and wellness, you could be creating exercises, you could be creating meal plan, you could create a keto specific infographics and things like that. You could talk about nutrition. So like whatever your niche is, create a couple different types of content that you're going to be posting so you know what it is that you will need to be creating. And you also have to remember that there's three main reasons why people come to social media. They come to social media to be educated, to be entertained, and to be inspired. So your content has to fulfill each one of these needs at least. So tip number 2 is you have to identify your consistency strategy. How often are you going to be posting on Instagram? So there's different people who say different things as far as how often you need to post in the feed, but let's just imagine that you are just starting out. You don't have consistent, follower growth, you don't have consistent people find your account, you don't have consistent leads and customers flowing into your business from your Instagram account. If that's the case, then you do want to post more. Okay, so there are some people that are going to tell you just need to post 3 times a week, but think about it. When you're just starting out somewhere and you don't have any content, let's say you start from scratch, let's say you just deleted your account and you're like, well, I really want to start from scratch. Should I really rely on just posting 3 times a week and the rest rely on stories? Not really, because think like your customers. Put yourself into their shoes and imagine if I were to come to my profile as my customer and I only see 3 posts, am I really going to follow them? So I do recommend to every single client that I work with, make sure that you at least have 9 posts. Okay, so fill up your grid with a couple different posts just so that people can see that you actually have something going on. I don't care if it takes you 3 days to post that and you actually post 3 times a day, because here's the deal. There are different accounts, there are different creators on Instagram. Some of them post 4 times a day. Others post 7 times a day. There's some that don't post anything throughout the entire month and they just post on stories and they rely on other platforms. But you can't compare yourself to others. You can't just sit here and wait for subscribers to come to you. You have to go out there and be active. You have to go out there and create content. And honestly, in the beginning, the more content you test, here's what you're going to learn. Okay, so imagine if you post once a day, every single day over the course of the next 30 days. You're brand new, you're just starting your account. Here's the following things that you're going to learn about your account. Number 1, you're going to find the best days that work well for interaction and engagement and visibility. You're going to see what are the best days for you to post content, because let's say if Mondays you get 100 likes or something like that, or let's say 50, let's be more conservative, and then on Sundays you only get 2, that's just an indication for you that, hey, I'm going to be posting more on Mondays and I'm going to cut down on Sundays. I'm only going to be engaging on stories and engaging with other people instead of posting within my own feed. Is that making sense? The other thing that you're also going to test, you're going to see which times perform best. Like, is it in the morning? Is it early in the morning? Is it in the evening? Is it in the afternoon? So figure out what works best for your account, especially, depending what kind of audience you attract and if they are in a different time zone. Because for me, I am in Europe, but the majority of my customers are in the United States and Canada. So obviously it doesn't make sense for me to post at 10 a.m. European time because no one's gonna really see that. So you're going to be able to test the times. And the third thing that you're also going to be able to test is going to be the hashtags. So this is something that I've done with my account actually multiple times. Is, at some point I was actually posting twice a day just to see which hashtags actually perform, because for each group of content, so let's say you got one nutrition, the other one is inspiration, the other one is quotes, you're going to have different hashtag groups. And I do talk about hashtags very thoroughly in this video. I actually pull out my screen and I share with you the strategy that I've used to research my hashtags. And then I have a new video here about the hashtag strategy that will get you targeted followers. So also be sure to check that out. I'll leave the links in the description box as well. But, hashtags are really, really, really important, and you should not be neglecting them, because your reach is going to skyrocket and you're always going to be getting new followers from hashtags, because that's how, one of the main strategies for you to attract followers passively on Instagram. Which leads me to tip number 3, which I have already mentioned, but you do need to make sure that you do research your hashtags. So if you want to be consistent on Instagram, you do need to have basically the whole strategy. And the strategy is you need to have the pictures, you need to have the captions, you need to have the hashtags, because if you have a post ready, but you don't have a hashtag collection for that post, then it's kind of going to be a waste. Like, you're probably wasting a really good post that could have reached thousands of people just because you were lazy enough to, not do the hashtag research. So, like I said, make sure that you watch those 2 videos that I mentioned. I'm linking them in the description box as well. And let's move on to the next tip, which is make sure that you have a similar or consistent design for the majority of your posts. So you don't want to be all over the place. You don't want to be, creating this post, like using red color and yellow and this and that. So you do want to make sure that you actually, take care over your Instagram grid, which I talk about very thoroughly in this video. So be sure to check that out. I actually talk about design, aesthetics, about how to make your Instagram profile look better. I talk about different apps that I use. So you're not going to want to miss out on that video. But, I'll leave here's a couple of examples. My Instagram feed used to look like this. And, it looked decent and everything, but it wasn't as good as I wanted it to be. It was not memorable. It was just all over the place. Now my Instagram feed looks like this, to where, I have a consistent theme. I have a consistent set of fonts that I use. I have a consistent set of colors that I use. And my content is more shareable. So, which is something I talk about in the video that I just mentioned. So you definitely want to have, kind of the same look. If you really want to grow, you do need to have the same, kind of vibe for every single picture. So definitely pay attention to that. And last but certainly not least, this is by far, my absolute favorite part, and sometimes the least favorite part of the process as well, because it is certainly, time consuming, which is sit down and batch create all of your content. So you can do that with 2 tools, or honestly any, you can change them up, use whatever you want, but I'll give you my recommendations of what I personally use for my Instagram growth. So number 1, I'm using Canva to create all of the designs, all the images, everything that you see in my business. If there is a graphic, it was most definitely made in Canva, 9.9 times out of 10 it was made in Canva. So, and the other tool that I use for scheduling my Instagram posts, or at least setting up, to where I know what I post when, so I have a grid, I'm using Planoly. So all I really have to do is I can sit down once or twice a month, create all the posts that I need, write down all the captions, which for me personally, I found that captions work best when, I sit down throughout the week and make them, because I don't always feel inspired, in one go, you know what I'm saying? So that's something that I do. So I really hope that's something that you're going to do as well. But honestly, it's so easy for me to sit down and get a bunch of ideas from different Instagram accounts. And then I go into Canva and I spend an hour or 2. I make all the images, and, some of them you can actually see that I have similar designs. I use, again, it's very, very simple. You just, copy and paste, drag and drop, you play around with different designs, see what works, see what doesn't work. And then, yeah, so that's pretty much my process with creating that consistent content on Instagram. And honestly, it's all about preparation. It's all about, sitting here, preparing. And, I used to struggle with posting consistently on Instagram. And the reason for that is because I did not sit down and batch create my content, meaning I did not sit down and create all of those images in one go. And that's really what has been saving my butt to actually stay consistent with Instagram content. So far I shared with you 5 different tips that will help you stay consistent with your Instagram content to help you get targeted followers into your account. So I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give me a like, hit that subscribe button if you enjoy this kind of content, and hit the bell sign to get notified when the new video goes live, which is every single week. And let me know to the comment section below which one was your favorite tip. Let me know if this was actually helpful, and if you have any questions regarding growing on Instagram, then definitely let me know. I will be more than happy to cover that in the next video. So with that being said, enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.